The appointment takes immediate effect, so I really do not think much can be done about it. But for now, we are already in September, and the president has promised to appoint ministers for his cabinet. And of course, that will constitutionally cover all the states of the Federation so that everyone can feel included in this administration. Finally, on the program, we spoke to Barrister Malaki Ugumadu about the Administration of Criminal Justice Act a while back, and he gives us an in-depth look into this act.
Under the act, both the Inspector General of Police and the Controller General of Prisons are obligated to send periodic reports of the records of persons who are in police custodies across the country to the Attorney General of the Federation. It is not for just it is not just for the fun of it. It is to immediately give the Office of the Attorney General of Police an overview of the status of persons who are in prison facilities. Those whose prosecutions are going on, those in respect of which were arrested with or without warrant, those whose offenses are so negligible too as to activate their rights. I'm talking of the rights of the Attorney General and the right of the Attorney General of respective states under the Act to visit these prisons and effect their release. Under the Act, police heads of agencies that has arresting and prosecutorial powers, like I mentioned in the past, NDLEA, EFCC, are also obligated to make similar reports, just so that it is not only focused at arrest and detention that come and emanate from police stations. All of these other agencies also have that responsibility. Under the Act, you have a central recording registry into which all arrests across the country are centrally collated. These are ways by which a data bank or base will be built along the line of inmates of prisons. And the statistics are taken accurately to be able to monitor the incidence of either unlawful or unnecessary arrests or cases of arrest that has consistently bloated the number of inmates. Now, the essence of this is also to activate the right and power of the magistrate during her periodic visitation to prisons to be able to effect these releases that are necessary. Now, it has become very interesting to note that the Act has also empowered these supervisory authorities, magistrates, chief magistrates, attorney generals of the Federation, attorney generals of the states. There is a supervening authority on the part of this person I've mentioned to prevail over them and effect those releases.
Now, what is the workability of this act?
Is the government going to engage more police officers or recruit more police officers, create more judicial officers and their company's support staff? Particularly now that the Nigerian economy is witnessing a nosedive where most states are unable to pay. These are the challenges. But the good news is that unlike what you used to have in the past, where the police reserve the right, most often than not, to determine the fate of suspects who are detained in their facilities, there are other layers of authorities that you can complain to. And they are under a duty, not an obligation, not a discretion. They are under a duty to exercise these rights as periodically as they are expected to do. Another interesting aspect of the Act is the power of the Chief Judge of the respective states, or even the Attorney General of the Federation, to be able to visit these prison facilities and pull out, release, as many as they may be, persons who have been detained for as long as the maximum punishment of the offenses they were alleged to have committed if they were convicted. In other words, where a man, was involved in wandering or just any misdemeanor that attracts a maximum punishment of a year or two, and he has exceeded that 2 years, automatically, under the administration of criminal justice, he will be released. That before trial, known as plea bargain. We now have plea bargain. It has also introduced parole. All of these mechanisms are carefully designed to ensure that rather than throwing people into prison facilities and they stay there endlessly, rather than also convicting people who otherwise would have been asked to go and be sweeping the courtrooms every Monday for as long as the magistrate decides, instead of putting them in prison where they can do community services, you have recalcitrantly refused to use the pedestrian bridge. Instead of car dumping you in it takes you to and the magistrate looks at it and finds that, well, instead of congesting the prison, you can be asked to go and clear the grass in the court premises. You do that 3 times to the full glare of your wives and siblings, that will serve as enough, because the whole essence of prisons all over the world is correctional. It is one correctional and reformatory. This is why the proper name for prison facilities are penitentiaries, to serve as a penance and as a purgation. It is not the hard aspect of punishment that is the primary purpose of prison system. It's a lot of discretion at the disposal of the magistrate and judges to look at each case on the merits of its own and find that, look, with respect to this offense, there is no point throwing this man into, let him pay back what he took. But we are not talking of the billions of dollars that we hear. We are talking of minor offenses that could have been occasioned by one transgression or the other, or one circumstance or the other beyond the reach of the person. You have parole. Parole is a system or a practice by which you are expected to exit the prison sentence even before the end of your prison term. If you have shown good behavior, if you have distinguished yourself right in prison facilities, that even the state needs you at that point, and so on and so forth.
Now, what role do the lawyers have to play in the implementation of this act?
The first is to be conscious of the new legal regime. I did not tell you that under the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, as presently constituted, trials are expected to move speedily, in most cases on daily basis. You are not expected to seek for adjournment more than 5 times, and in some cases more than 3 times throughout the duration of trials. Every day trial, no adjournments for more than 3 times. That alone is a heavy look. I have been involved in several criminal trials, and I can tell you that apart from election petition matters, it can be very herculean. Now, but the lawyers are expected. Don't forget, we have ethics. If you disregard what the law says and clearly undermine what the ethics of the professions are, you're also exposing yourself to another level of sanctions. So the lawyers are expected to sit up. The lawyers are expected to appreciate that the antics of delay tactics has been relegated to the background, effectively so, by the implementation of the new Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. But by far more than that, is to encourage and then raise the consciousness level. For instance, a suspect is grabbed, kept in detention. If there is no lawyer who can come and advocate his or her case at that level, chances are that the other layers of authority that you can approach may not even be may not be approached, and so the person remains in prison as though the Administration of Criminal Justice has not come into effect. There's what is supposed to be a monitoring committee under the law. I didn't mention that. This committee is to superintend over the activities of these agencies that ought to act. Now, that's another bureaucracy. You get them, you must get vehicle for them, you must get an office for them, you must get facilities for them. In times when governors are unable to pay salaries, are you expecting that? So those are some of the hiccups. But the truth is that if we are all determined, if we are all prepared to make it work, there is no way we will not reduce the present prison congestion by half. There's no way. It's so elaborate, so profound that there's no middle way out of it, you know.
Everyone needs to be more aware of this act to be able to take full advantage of it. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. I'm Victoria Ido. Bye for now.